right there on that one. Now, I have an interesting feeling that we're not going to have necessarily unanimous decision on this one. And Show, you're going to start it off after I ask the question. Next topic. Boxing, Twitter, conspiracy theorists have gone crazy on social media.
I know what you're about to talk about.
I don't even want to say the word because I hate how everyone throws a gate after everything, right? There shouldn't. And some comedian has a stand-up routine about that. It goes back to the 70s and Nixon. Why a gate? There's no reason. But GLOVEGATE, I'll say it, okay? Stories that Tyson Fury doctored his gloves ahead of his rematch with Deontay Wilder. Now, here's the question. I'm not going to even address if it's true or not. We'll kind of naturally give our feelings on that. However, does Wilder need to come out and make a comment against the speculation that Tyson Fury doctored his gloves? Show, you got the floor.
No! No! Why? He shouldn't say a word. Let me tell you why. When we looked at Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Gypsy King Fury, now you look at both fights together. I mean, Deontay Wilder arguably may have won, 3 rounds? Maybe. Mm-hmm. Okay, we know that he won 2. All right? What our eyes saw was one fighter better than the other. Now, in the second fight, we definitely saw that. Tyson Gypsy King Fury one-sided Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. When Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, immediately after that second fight, said, hey, look, rematch clause. I want to fight this guy again. I want my revenge. Mm-hmm. The air just came out of the boxing fans' lungs, right? Oh, we know who's better. I don't want to see this fight. I know what I saw. Until the conspiracies, okay? We don't know. They didn't really come from Deontay Wilder, but they came from maybe Team Wilder, a couple of YouTubers. You know, you start the conspiracy, the excuses. Now, the thing is, what you think you saw isn't what you saw. What happened really was GLOVEGATE. His GLOVEGATE 1, GLOVEGATE 2, his costume was too heavy. Someone spiked his water. All of a sudden, now you have the big market. The reason why the third fight may be anything is because we're all leaning on that conspiracy now. Not you and I, but the casual boxing fan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tyson Fury, he cheated. The real fight is going to be this third one. Let me tell you something. If Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder were to say anything, to say, hey, no, in fact, he gave me a butt whipping, then that'll just take it out. I mean, look, he won his revenge, yes, but he wants to get paid for it as well. I think Deontay Wilder, if he were to say something right now and tell the truth, he'll be kicking the money out of his own mouth. I think he shouldn't say anything until the fight is over.
And now I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. So bottom line is, I think at some point I may have agreed with you on this one that, yeah, don't say anything, don't worry about it, stupid, you two conspiracy theorists, yada, yada, yada. And then something happened. And I'm just going to say one word, and it pains me to say it because I feel here and I have connections. Marcellus.
Yeah.
Marcellus Wilder is why he needs to say something. Yeah. It's his brother.
Wilder had an autopsy.
For those people who are living under a rock or just casual boxing fans, and I'm not trying to slight you casual boxing fans, come with us to boxing, okay? Marcellus Wilder, Deontay Wilder's brother, put out an Instagram picture with a message basically saying that his brother's head was examined by a doctor. It was dented like a 1962 Buick. And then on top of it, that how could that happen? It couldn't just happen from a fist. Something incredible had to happen. And the autopsy shows that something happened. Right? You can't stay there, can you, Show? The autopsy, that one, it's one of the greatest things I've seen in boxing during this whole pandemic time. I laughed so hard and I loved it. And let me tell you, yes, you can't have an autopsy unless someone's deceased, and no one's deceased here, so that's why it's ridiculous, okay? But going on top of that, it's his brother. Now you could say, okay, it's his brother, he didn't say it. Here's the thing, having been down to Tuscaloosa, hanging with Marcellus, hanging with Deontay, and I like Marcellus. He is a nice guy, talented too. He is connected at Wilder's hip. When Wilder talks about who he trusts Marcellus more than anybody else. That's his guy, that's his brother, and blood means a whole lot to Deontay. Right now, Deontay Wilder, I think, is kind of having like a Macbeth-like moment. He's looking around and he's seeing all these hauntings and ghosts, and he's thinking, oh my God, I lost, and people are going to discover why I lost. And I think there's all these smoke screens being thrown up there. And Marcelo's adding fuel to the GLOVEGATE fire. That's what he did. When a guy comes out and says that, a member of his team, his brother, who's right there 24/7, takes it upon himself to say that, well, now what we could just say, that's crazy. Well, now, Deontay, you're lending yourself along with it because it's your brother and he's speaking for you, and your brother has consistently spoken for you. He's done it so many times. And so now you got to address, hey, your brother said this. Is there any truth? Let me see your dent, right? Let me see your dent. I want to see the dent in your head. If you had a dent in your head, you would need major reconstructive surgery, open up someone's skull, pull it out.
December 19th.
No, he wouldn't. So that's why. And on top of it all, now you've got the dent, now you've got Marcelo's, now you've got all the excuses that came before. It's a loaded gun of, pardon my French, BS, okay? Yeah. You've got all the other excuses. This is just another one, and whether Deontay said it or not doesn't really matter. It's your brother, and that's close enough. Show, come at me again.
Well, look, his brother did him a huge favor by doing that. It got interest back into that third fight.
Oh, I'll give you that, yeah.
I mean, that's my huge argument. It got interest back into the third fight. But let me tell you this. Let me tell you a story. Can I tell you a story?
Tell me a story.
I'm going to tell you a story. 1910. 4th of July, Independence Day. We had the fight of the century.
Yes, you did.
Jack Johnson versus Jim Jeffries. Now, Jack Johnson was a heavyweight champion of the world. Okay, Jim Jeffries, he's been gone for like 6 years. But the nation said, you're not the real heavyweight champion. You never beat Jim Jeffries. You got to beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. Jim Jeffries, he beat the man Corbett, who beat John L. Sullivan. They said Jim Jeffries is the real man. They brought Jim Jeffries out of retirement, saying that this guy is the true heavyweight champion. Now, you all know the history. Jack Johnson went on to whip Jim Jeffries. After Jack Johnson whipped Jim Jeffries, of course, there was a riot. People were upset. But after that, you start hearing excuses. You start hearing conspiracies, and then people saying that, hey, Jim Jeffries, he only lost because he had a nervous breakdown. Jim Jeffries, he only lost because he was drugged, because he was doped. It took Jim Jeffries a couple days, I think it was like July 9th, where Jim Jeffries, he told the media, he said, hey, look, I lost fair and square because I couldn't beat that guy. I can't beat Jack Johnson. I never been able to beat Jack Johnson. Now, let me tell you why he said that. Let me tell you why he came clean. He didn't come clean just because, just integrity. He came clean because he also said that is the last punch I ever throw. I promise you, Jim Jeffries knew that he wasn't going to win that fight before that fight. He knew that. He knew he was too old. He knew that he was over the hill. He knew that he weighed too much. He had to cut too much weight before that fight. He did not say that he wasn't able to beat Jack Johnson, would never be able to beat Jack Johnson. He did not say those words until he got that paycheck. So here's Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder should say, shh, no. So
now by saying that, and here's where I have a question for you. I think those scenarios are widely different for numerous reasons. The number one reason being the social climate within 1910. Jim Jeffries was pressured into that fight, and if you read most of the biographies, he wanted absolutely nothing to do with it until he got an offer he couldn't refuse, and so, hey, I'm in it now. You also had a whole lot of racism going into it. You had Corbett in his corner yelling horrible things. You had Jack London, who everyone talks about, this great author, was wildly racist, doing terrible newspaper stories. So I see it as two completely different settings. However,
Jeffrey still doesn't say anything till after the paycheck.
True, but here's my question for you. Now, are you saying that Deontay Wilder deep down inside knows that he can't beat Tyson Fury? Is that your premise?
No, my premise is this. My premise is he wants revenge, but he doesn't want it for free. Already 10 million to 20 million people illegally streamed the second fight, meaning that he went out there. He was not silly. They had to throw in the towel. He wanted to go out on the shield. All of that, when that fight could have been one of the biggest fights in pay-per-view history, people was illegally streaming it. What he need his hardcore fans to be behind him to pay for that fight, not illegally stream it, to believe in him. He need that paycheck, and along with that revenge, he should say nothing.
He could say whatever he wants to do. He can put up banners all over the place. That fight is not going to do the kind of business that the last fight did. So you might as well say something. But let's